Hello everybody, High Flyers Tag Team back here with another video again today. This video, wow, I wasn't expecting to make this as quick. So for everyone to know, I got into contact, with, Arvid Nelson. I hope I said that right. Very nice guy. Great guy. That name might not sound familiar to you. Here's what he did. He is the writer of Godzilla Aftershock and The Birth of Kong. I actually got in contact with him and answered questions. Um, I'll show you actually real quick something. So here's his, Twitter or whatever. So apparently I gotta be logged in to see his followers. But yes, he is indeed followed by, people like Drew and them, official Monsterverse people. This is his official account. If you don't believe me, I did talk to him on Twitter because like his stuff isn't open. I just refreshed it. I'll refresh it again. I don't know what else you would want me to do. But yes, I 100% got into a conversation with him, and we got some really nice information about Jinshin-Mushi, including how powerful she truly was. Her strategy, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to explain it all in depth in this video. I just want everyone to know, though, that what Drew said, none of that necessarily was, I guess, like, you could say it was wrong. I don't know. He's an artist, and just like Zid told me when I got in contact with Zid, he said that basically the artists just bring it to life. You need to kind of ask the people who make the stories or the legendary mythology team. So I got in contact with the writer, and the writer is the source you'd want to get into contact with for this information. So everything he says, a lot of it actually contradicts what Drew says. So if you guys were getting excited that Jinshin-Mushi looked like a weak, ass, then you're gonna be a little upset with this video. So I want to thank Nelson though for answering my questions. I've asked him a few more. He hasn't answered me back. A little bit of a slow responder, but I really want to say thank you for answering me. If you do ever see this, I really do appreciate it. It does mean a lot. Hopefully you didn't feel bombarded with questions, man. But if you ever see this once again, but go and talk about this. This is all public. You can find it. So I basically asked him if there's a chance I could ask him a few questions. He said there's a 100% chance. I asked him basically what was Jinshin-Mushi's strategy. Was she weaker? Was she stronger? What was the deal? You can read it yourself. He had to go through some notes, and as you see in this conversation, let's see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Where's it at? I'm having a really hard time with Twitter right now. I really should have just pulled up my other things. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay, so I think I figured out how to do this. He only has a few responses he sent me. So here's the order he sent in. He sent this message first, this one, and then this one. We weren't on DM or anything. We were public. So, everything as such, he did indeed send publicly. So first he said, yeah, okay, this is one of the things we didn't have room for, but we thought about hibernation strategies in the animal kingdom, applying that to a megatitan. When Jinshin-Mushi emerges from dormancy, it's like a bear waking up in the springtime, powerful but depleted, running on internal battery power. So each encounter, Jinshin-Mushi gets stronger. Each nuclear reactor is like a beehive to a bear, so the stakes get higher each time. Each time the balance of force tips more and more in Jinshin-Mushi's favor. Thanks for the kind words, by the way. It was great. Yeah, he was saying, I was like telling him I'm a fan. By the way, in case you don't know, he had to go get his notes and stuff for this information. So he has notes and stuff from when he was making the comic on how this works. I'll get in depth here in a second on what this means. Just, give me a second. And then I asked him basically who was stronger between Godzilla and Prime at base, if I can even find this message. There we go. So, ask him who's stronger in base with no power-ups, Godzilla or Prime. Because at the time I didn't realize that. I'll explain it here in a minute. When I asked that, I didn't realize something, but he avoided that and said another interesting question. The way we thought of it was Jinshin-Mushi is uniquely evolved to parasitize Godzilla, so it's not so much that Jinshin-Mushi Prime is it's not so much that Jinshin-Mushi Prime is stronger, it's more that she's perfectly built to counter and defeat Godzilla. Against another megatitan, Jinshin-Mushi might not have such a big advantage, but for Godzilla specifically, it's a nightmare scenario. That's why GZ needs Monarch in the context story to even the odds, and then ask some more questions. And that's all we talked about. Not a super big conversation, as you can see. Who knows? Maybe he'll answer me back, and we can talk some more. I would really love to talk to him some more. I have some other stuff I would like to ask him, but once again, thank you to him for answering me. So, basically, what can we learn from this? So what I had a lot of time to talk to people. I had a lot of time to think this through and read it. As I told you, I was asking him with like no power-ups, and I realized something, that Jinshin-Mushi never had power-ups in the book, in the novel. I never, I kind of looked into what he was talking about with bears and stuff. So here's what he's saying, because I looked, like I said, I took a lot of time, and this makes sense now. So first thing, they were trying to apply hibernation to the animal kingdom, and he compares her specifically to a bear waking up. And basically, he's saying that when she woke up, we see her at the start of the comic wake up, she's not at full power. She's in a weakened state. So that already means she's not even at base yet. She's weakened. She's not even at base. You can be weakened. Base and a weakened form are two different things. You being weaker than your face by some outside force or some other means, that doesn't make that your base. That just makes you weaker. Which I'll get on to something really interesting here in a second. But his comparison too is that each nuclear reactor is like a beehive to a bear. So instead of applying that, basically she's getting like power-ups or something, she's just feeding because she's hungry. And he talks about as how the comic goes on, she does indeed get stronger and stronger. Not in the sense that she's getting power-ups, it's because she was very depleted and very weak at the start of the comic. But once she starts waking up, has more encounters with Godzilla, and she starts eating, filling up her stomach. She's starving, she doesn't have power, she doesn't have energy. She starts getting closer and closer to her full strength. Now, the way I take this too is that she indeed would in a way be more powerful than Godzilla. I kept asking about strength, by the way. Maybe I should have asked about power, not strength. Strength and power are two different things. Strength's like how strong you are, obviously, like you can lift stuff. Power is just like an overall. But yeah, so basically what this means is that I've talked to so many people about this, and all this implies is that she never even reached her full power base yet. So we don't even know what she would be at full power base. And, it's not like every time that a bear eats a beehive, they achieve, Super Saiyan or some shit, They just, they get a little bit more energy. It's like any animal that's hungry, is feeding. And for something as big as a Muto Prime that hasn't even, has been in hibernation for, I would say, at least, tens of thousands of years. Yeah, she's a hungry girl. So, first things up that we can, unlike yesterday where we were confused, is Jinshin-Mushi weaker than Godzilla in base? What's this mean? Blah, blah, blah. We haven't even seen her full base power yet. We've only seen her weakened. We haven't even seen her at full strength in her base. And she was working towards that. And we still have feats and stuff for how she was at that point. So we can only just imagine how she would get if she kept doing that. I've talked to a few people too, there's nothing else that really comes out of this. He literally says that she was completely depleted when she woke up. And this also explains too, because like I said, this went hand in hand. I asked him about the strategy. This basically implies that the reason she ran away is not because that, not so she can do a hit and run and weaken him over time. It's clearly because she was extremely weak herself and could not confront him. So she hit him and ran so that she had time to escape so she didn't have to fight him then. This probably means Godzilla could have potentially beat her there, but it wouldn't be saying much since Godzilla does indeed beat a weakened version of her. You know, it's not even her full power base yet, and you know that's saying a lot once again. Um, so if we go down here, I'm going to go to the other stuff she said. So like here, he said that uh, it's not as much about so it's not so much that Jinshin-Mushi is stronger. So I asked him who's stronger. Um, it's like right here, he's basically saying the fight had nothing to do with strength. Um, you know, she could be weaker than him in strength or power or whatever. The important part is that she was built perfectly to counter him. He even says that she's a nightmare scenario for him up there, which we'll get onto here in a second. So 100% here, like, he kind of avoided with another question. Like, he kind of avoided answering if she is indeed above Godzilla or not, in a way. But all we do know is that she can indeed stomp Godzilla. Which in the comic we do kind of see. I mean, she beats him pretty bad, nearly kills him, possibly twice, and she's not even at full power. Um, Here you're talking about if she fights another alpha or something. Um, he simply says that she might not have such a big advantage. First off, keyword might. For all you know, she could. But what this simply means is that unlike Godzilla, who, like you said, is like a nightmare scenario and she can completely stomp Godzilla, all this means is that those counters she has for Godzilla, she can't necessarily counter some of the other Titans. It will be a lot more on even grounds in terms of basically mono versus mono. Basically best man wins. So at this point, what does this reveal? Well, it doesn't change any of her feats and stuff. She was still powerful enough to easily rip through Godzilla's hide like tissue paper, which is one of the most impressive things we've seen. We didn't even see Ghidorah ripping through Godzilla like this in the movie. So she can easily rip through stuff. She can launch 90,000 tons in the air casually by causing earthquakes. I mean, she just walks and causes earthquakes. She can dig easy. She's fast. She can react quick. I mean, from what we can tell, she swings a lot faster than Godzilla does. We know Godzilla is pretty decently fast, but Jinshin-Mushi, even when she's like up close to him, and he has a full advantage to get a nice nasty hit on her, she hits him faster than he can do anything about. And again, she wasn't even at full power, but with her long, massive arms that likely weigh as much as what's probably going to be a full-grown Kong by themselves, if not more. They're massive arms. Which, according to Drew, that's probably where a lot of her weight comes from. Which I did ask Nelson what her weight is. That's one of the questions, but he hasn't responded yet. So no, him saying might not have a big advantage doesn't mean as much. It just simply puts them on even ground. Sometimes fights, there's no advantage on either side, or one side does. This could mean if she fights a Titan that they're on completely even grounds. It could possibly go either way. It just comes down to feats at that point. I mean, she would completely stomp someone like Kong, I would have to say. But no offense to Kong fans, it's just because, like, how strong her durability is and stuff. But this is going to make, whenever I go to do a Muto Prime vs. Ghidorah video, a lot more interesting. I'm going to wait a little bit before I do that now, because hopefully I can get more answers from Nelson, which will make it all the more easier to do. Once again, I want to thank Nelson for this video, or for answering my questions. What have we learned today? We've learned that Muto Prime was never at her full strength in the comic book. She was still getting stronger. She was always in a weakened state. She never actually achieved her full power base form. And she can completely stomp Godzilla, especially at full power, to explain why she basically one-shots Dagon. And that she wouldn't necessarily have an advantage over other Titans, but her feet still stand, and she would probably be able to throw pretty good hands with them, if not beat plenty of them. If not possibly be the most powerful one in the Monsterverse, just by going by feats and knowing she wasn't even at full power at this point. Obviously, I mean in base, not with power-ups and stuff. Power-ups are, they're a whole different topic. So what do you guys think of all this? Once again, thank you to the writer for answering my questions, the ones so far. Glad to know now that Jinshin-Mushi had way more power to show us in the comics. She wasn't even at full power base yet. And, of course, now that we know that she wouldn't have a super big advantage, per se, uh, she would have a lot more. The fights would be, I don't know how I want to say this. I guess you could say the fights could almost be more even, per se, but it doesn't mean she can't have an advantage like he said it might. It just depends on the scenario and the monster. But we'll get more into this when I start debating with her and stuff. But I want to thank you all for watching once again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, peace out and bye-bye. Have a great day.